Hello, this is Sabrina Young with Young's Daughters Funeral Home and Bereavement Center. This video is about the importance of sleep. Today I was reading an article by Sabrina N, a sleep medical expert from Baylor Scott & White, and in this article read 4 key concepts about the cycle of sleep and how important it is. A fun fact is 1/3 of our day is spent rejuvenating our bodies. And so we need to do that the best that we can. And so how can we do that? Well, grief and sleep kind of go hand to hand in our profession at the funeral home. And so what I want to share with you what we notice. So when somebody experiences a loss, you will see medically, they stated in this article, an increase in cardiovascular disease and hypertension and arrhythmias in the heart. You develop mood disorders that already had underlying conditions. Now, when a family member loses a loved one and they come to our funeral home, when we go to make the arrangements, we see a lot of irritability. It's very hard to make that first good impression and start that healthy relationship on that path of recovery. Recovery from grief, as well as the transition and acceptance of what's going to be happening. When we start asking the questions through the arrangement process, you'll see the lack of focus. They start dazing off. It's hard to understand. They ask a lot of times to repeat something. So the lack of focus. A lot of times when we ask many questions, and maybe we need to ask them in a different way, because you'll see the state of confusion. During grief, it's very hard to move forward, especially when you don't have a good quality sleep. So we want to encourage families to take the time, recover with the sleep, and then come into the funeral homes, that there's no need to rush. It's not something that has to be done right away. We want to make sure that you've had enough sleep. And so how much sleep does an actual human need? So adults typically need 7 to 9 hours. Teenagers need 8 to 10. School-age children still need about 9 to 11. Pre-K, 10 to 13 hours. Toddlers, 11 to 14, infants 12 to 15, and newborns are 14 to 17 hours. So there are tips and tricks to help you in your daily routine to wind down. And for everybody, and no matter which age group you are in, the routines can be vastly different. For say my infant daughter Cecilia, she's 7 months old, and she needs a bath, and she likes to be rubbed down, and she likes to be, of course, nursed before she goes to bed. So for her, that's her routine. My teenagers like to read some books. They spend about an hour doing so. And I have one daughter, she is 13, and she likes to read and even dives into her devotional before she goes to bed to alleviate from upset sleepings and nightmares and so forth. So we as adults, I encourage you that if you are over the adult age, stay away from alcohol consumption, stay away from the caffeine and tobacco at nighttime, because it generates anxiety. We begin to overthink things, especially before the arrangement process. Many people find it hard to cope, so they go ahead and they start drinking the night before, which is leaving them definitely not in an appropriate mind frame for the arrangement process. You want to stay away from those caffeinated beverages. I drink caffeine coffee all day long, as many of you know, so that's just something that we need to move to a decaf at the end of the night. So let's see, music and yoga, meditation and devotionals, those are all very helpful tips to wind down and stay on a routine. I know during this shelter in place, and even when social distancing is implemented, hopefully going back to that stage, that we will get into the routine of a new normal. So if you have any questions or you find this video helpful, please like and share. Leave a comment or review. I'd love to see it. And if you have any questions for me, I'd love to answer them. Thank you so much, and have a good night.